Hey guys, Sixth here from Bash Brothers, and I'm going to be starting off a series of tutorials for the ArmA3 editor in hopes that it will help you create your missions. So we're going to get started here, and we're going to make an entire mission from scratch. And what map should we use? We'll just go with Stratus for now. So getting started, you'll notice that my editor might look a little bit different than the default one. And well, that's because I'm using a different layout. The streamline should be the one that everybody starts with, and it would look like this. But I don't really like that one. I like the traditional. So that's what I'm going to be using for this tutorial, and I'll explain everything throughout that. So that's what we'll be using. You'll just click this button up here, change to traditional, click OK, and then it'll restart your editor. But I don't have to do that, so I'm just clicking cancel. And we'll start out by talking about what everything is. So, I mean, these are pretty self-explanatory. Save, save as, load, start new. Don't need to worry about merge, but textures will just show the textures of the map. It's good for when you're placing specific things, you know, like whether you want it to be in a grassy area or a desert area, or these, you know, trees, roads, whatever. And then without textures is good so you can read the actual geometry of the map, like the mountains and things of that nature. And turning IDs on will show the actual, should show the actual, there it goes. Will show all of the IDs once you zoom in far enough of each building and each fence and everything like that. And this will be useful for when you're coding in things like if you destroy this building, which is 69593, then objective is complete, or something like that. We'll get into that later though. So debugging is very useful when you're testing certain scripts. Like this is what's preloaded in mine, and that's just for when I need to take screenshots of you know, missions for when I'm uploading them or whatever, get cool shots. That's not something we need to worry about yet either. The functions viewer is pretty useful. It's got a bunch of different functions and things like that already built into it that I don't use and we're not going to be using, but you can find out a lot of different things here. Like this is getting the volume, you set up a parameter for that. There's a lot of different useful things in here, and you can just read through it, and you'll probably even learn a thing or two about the actual coding if you wanted to. But like I said, we're not going to be doing that. The configure viewer is, this is good if you're trying to get specific names of items that are in the game. Yeah, like for example, it's just pretty much any item that you'll need. But we don't need to go into that either. We already talked about the editor layout, and then if Steam has an integrated button where you can just publish it straight to the workshop, which is pretty handy. And on the right hand side, there's a couple options under this drop down. I don't really ever use these because it actually changes. So say you spawn a unit, okay, he's in the mission right now, and if you wanted to do an intro, he won't be in that scene because they're separate scenes. This is what these essentially are scenes where if you wanted to make, you know, cutscenes, and this will play when you win. This, and you'll set up like a bunch of different things, like some soldiers moving down the road or whatever you want it to do. And then same for lose, and then same for the introduction, the first thing that would be played when you start the mission. But we don't need to worry about that yet either. And right here are some quick settings where we're about to check out in the advanced intel, which daylight, partly cloudy, cloudy, rainy, thunderstorming. Um, but those are just presets. But when you click on Advanced Intel, you'll get a bunch of different things, which we'll go over right now. So the name, which will be the name of your mission. We'll call this Operation Test. I don't know. And the description, which will pop up when you select the mission, it'll be, this is a tutorial mission. Okay. The date of the mission, not really relevant unless you want like a full moon per se. Some specific dates which you would have to look up, I don't know off the top of my head, will have full moons, and then others will have different types of moons cycling, which is cool because Arma has its own weather cycle or orbit cycle or whatever it's called, either way. And then the time of the day, 0 being midnight, started at 10 a.m. The overcast, which would be, the clouds, how cloudy is it out, fog, how foggy is it, and makes it able to see through. If it's raining, if we leave it on auto, the mission will automatically rain sometimes. Sometimes it won't rain. It'll just be, whatever. And then lightning, same situation. We can leave it on automatic. Sometimes it'll lightning. Usually the rain and lightning will work together. The waves, if we wanted to control how wavy the water is outside. The wind, how windy it is. Maybe you have a flag and you want it really windy, or I'm pretty sure wind even affects bullet drop in this game, which is pretty cool. You can, change how strong the wind is here, and the gusts of wind, I suppose. And then what these two are just these two columns here is what, say, the overcast will start at 55, but the forecast might change to 85 over 4 hours and 15 minutes down here. And the direction right here is just the direction of the wind. So maybe we want it going that way, and then it'll eventually change to going this way. And then the last thing, which is independents are friendly to, is really only reflecting the actual faction of independents, which is talking about who are they friendly to, who are they trying to kill, who are they not trying to kill. Maybe they're going to be sided with Blue 4, maybe they're going to be sided with Op 4, maybe nobody or everybody. Doesn't really matter, we're not going to be using independents, just leave it on Blue 4 for now. Keep going. So at the bottom of the screen we have our grid reference, our X, Y, and Z coordinates, and then on the bottom right is just telling what we have selected right now. We'll just leave it on units, doesn't matter. We'll talk about these in a little bit. We're going to be doing something else first. But the first thing we're going to be doing is actually saving the mission. So we're going to name it Operation Test, and it's going to be a user mission. It's going to be basically a single player and multiplayer, but we don't need to worry about these yet. And then these are just for other things, whether you want it to be sent to an email or published straight to the Steam Workshop. So like I said, we're going to go ahead and save that, and then we're going to go to our Documents folder, ArmA3 Other Profiles, or if you don't have another profile, it'll just be ArmA3. Your username, your missions, it'll be the top one or wherever it is in your list. Operation Test, and now we found our folder. So we're going to be coming back to this in just a few minutes. This will end the first tutorial, and what we're going to cover in the next one will be creating specific user layouts or character layouts, and then implementing them into our mission and starting up our mission. So stay tuned.